Alright, so picking up from where we left off, right, explaining the creditors recon and the debtors recon and all that, we're going to do a question on the creditors recon, right? So we're going to be looking at the creditors recon. First thing that we must remember is that our supplier looks at us as a debtor, right? When they see us, they look at us as a debtor. We're the business, right? This is us over here. When we look at our supplier, we look at them as a creditor because we are buying on credit from them, right? So here's the question. The question is grade 11, Eastern Cape, November 2018, question 1.3 if you're looking for it. But yeah, you can just pause it here, try it by yourself if you want to. If you in matric or yeah, or in grade 11 and you're starting and you just want to test yourself, you can just pause it here and then begin. You can see here the answer sheet, the answer booklet, and that is where we're going to answer. So this is a fairly straightforward question in terms of that there is no actual journals that we're filling in. We're just going to fill in this here, these blocks here, and we're just gonna say is it a is it an increase or a decrease in the creditors or the statement, right? Now another thing we must remember is who, right? The main question is always who is who in this, right? Creditors ledger, remember, this is our viewpoint, this is us, right? I'm gonna zoom in very much so that we can see it. This is our viewpoint, right? And then the statement is coming from them, that is their viewpoint. So an easy way to remember this is think of your bank account, right? Remember, if you watched the last video, I said that creditors reconciliation is like bank reconciliation, right? It's fairly the same thing. So if you think of your own bank account, you you have your app on your phone that tells you how much you have, and then when you request the statement, the bank is going to send you the statement and saying these are your transactions and that is your balance at the bottom, right? So it's the same thing with the statement here. This statement comes from them. They are telling you what the balance is on the account, and the creditors ledger is our books as the bookkeeper or whoever has compiled it and says this is how much we have, right? So looking at the question there at the top, there is the bank recon. I know I said it's not, they actually won't do it, but this is a 2018 paper, and you know what, if you actually get this type of question where they give you the bank recon and creditors recon, consider yourself very lucky, because if you understand your work, if you just understand creditors recon, then you can do bank recon. They gave you, what is that, 40 marks. They gave you 40 marks for free there. That is yours, right? So we're gonna do this. Supplies is a creditor of Power Traders. The August 2018 statement from Supplies reflected a closing balance of 21,500, right? So this is the balance from them. I want to make this thinner. This is the balance from them, Supplies, right? 21,500. And then the records of Power Traders reflected an outstanding balance of 20,000, right? We are we are Power Traders and they are Suppliers. So our book says 20,000. There it is, 20,000, and their books say 21,000, right? 21,500 there. Now we can begin with the questions, right? Complete the table provided to show the effect of each error or omission. Indicate whether each amount is a plus or a minus, and total each column. All right. So the first information there says an invoice of 4,500 there, that is our amount, 4,500, was incorrectly reflected as 5,450 on the statement. All right, so what is the correct amount that was supposed to be shown? It is 4,500. Oh my days, why am I doing this? The correct amount to be shown was 4,500. The incorrect amount that was shown was 5,450, right? And then we ask ourselves, where was the mistake done? Was it in our books or in their books, right? Right here they say on the statement. No, I'm not highlighting, but it's fine. Yes, they say on the statement. That was the issue. The issue happened on the statement, right? Meaning that the problem was on their side. Remember, we said the statement is them and the account is us, right? So if the issue was on their side, they have to fix it. Now, we know that the issue is theirs, but by how much? And is it also an increase or a decrease, right? Remember here it says that the invoice was 4,500 on our side. That's the correct invoice, right? So if you look at their side, right, they are the creditor and they see us as a debtor, right? What is the name of us, our company? Power, right there. And power is an asset to them, right? When they see us, they see an asset, right? When you have an invoice, you are increasing the amount, right? So originally it was supposed to be an invoice, but they invoiced it as 5,450, right? So what they did was invoice is increasing their debt, which is going to be 5,450, right? But now we learned that this was the wrong amount. The correct amount that was supposed to be invoiced was 4,450, right? Now we know that this was incorrect and this is the correct amount, right? My question now is, are you going to add 5,000? Are you going to add 5,450 here? I don't know why it's doing that. Stop trying to be smart. Alright, 5,450 there. Alright, we know it's the middle one. Are you going to add 5,450 there? But in doing so, this will add up to, what is that, 10,900, right? Or the inverse of subtracting, right? Now we know this one isn't correct because it adds up to 10,000 and we don't want that. We just want to decrease the balance from 5,450 and get it to 4,450, right? Now the difference there, we can subtract it, 5,450 minus 4,450, and we'll get a difference of 1,000. We're supposed to subtract 1,000. So here we know that this side is addition and this side is subtraction. What we're going to do is subtract 1,000 rand from the 5,000 to get 4,450, right? Instead of crediting the full amount, I'm going to do it in red to show you what we're not supposed to do. Instead of saying minus 5,450, right, this is going to cancel that, and then you're going to say plus the correct amount of 4,450. We don't do that, right? We're going to do what is in green. We're going to subtract 1,000 and it's going to give us a balance of 4,450. So that is our answer here. Our answer here is subtract 1,000 rand and then we get 4,000. Remember we said the mistake was on their side because it is in the statement, the part where I highlighted in black, right? Next, Power Traders recorded a 5% discount. All right, Power Traders is us. We recorded the discount. with the payment of 4,600. Suppliers did not grant this discount, stating that the check was late. Okay, so first things first, who made the mistake? Us or them? We made the mistake, right? As the supplier, you're the one who grants the discount. Think of it when you go to um when you go to buy a phone cover, right? You go buy a phone cover and then you negotiate. They say the price is 200, you say I have 150 rand, and then now you like, come on man, give me that discount of 50 rand. They decide. The person who sells is the one who decides if they give you a discount. I can't just put 150 rand on the table, take the cover and leave. If he disagrees, then that can be considered stealing, even though I left 150, right? So remember that the supplier is the one that always gives the discount. Therefore, in this case, they are the supplier. Suppliers is the supplier, and they saying that they did not grant this discount. So we made the mistake by saying that, oh, okay, you already gave me the discount. I'm going to pay you the amount that is minus the discount, right? So, right there, we know the mistake was done by us. I'm going to highlight it in black. Oh, no, that is not black. Gonna highlight it there. That's the mistake made by us. But by how much, right? How much highlighted there? 4,600 and then the 5% discount. The amount that we were supposed to pay was 4,600, but we subtracted 5% discount from that. So what we're going to do now is say 4,600 multiplied by 5% discount. How much does that give us? 4,600, 10% is 460, 230, right? 230. So the amount that we paid was 4,600 minus the 230, which is supposed to give us 4,370. This is how much we paid, which was incorrect because we assumed that they gave us the 5% discount. The 5% discount is the 230, right? The correct amount that we were supposed to pay is 4,600, but we only paid 437. Therefore, we are going to pay them that other 230 rand. And just like that, that is our correct answer. That is the amount that we're going to pay, 230 rand, right? It's the same as what we did in the first question here, right? We didn't do the full amount. We only found out the difference, right? We only found out the difference and then we adjusted on the difference. Same thing here. We are adjusting only on the difference, not the full amount. Remember that. So same thing here. Are we minusing or are we adding it? Remember, it's in our books because we said here in the black, we highlighted it in the black. Power traders, it's in our books, and then we had paid 4,370, this amount here, right? We had paid 4,370, but the amount is supposed to be 4,600. So we're going to add the 230 rand, right? Adding the 230 rand plus 230, and that is the second question done, right? Moving on. Information C. An allowance of 520 rand for damaged goods was recorded as an invoice in the creditors ledger of suppliers in the books of power traders. That's a lot. That is a lot even for me, right? Okay, let's cut this sentence and then see what they're asking one by one. An allowance of 520. Stop there. For first things first, stop there. The word allowance. When you think allowance, I want you to think allowance is return, right? An allowance is a return. So if if they say you were given an allowance, right? Creditors allowance or debtors allowance or whatever. You brought back stock, meaning that there is a subtraction. You must subtract from the amount, right? An example that I can give you here is, say you go and buy clothes. That is gonna be my very amazing drawing of a t-shirt and some pants, right? You buy 5 t-shirts and 5 pants, right? Each t-shirt is at 50 rand, very good price, and each pair of pants is at 100 rand, right? So here you paid essentially 500 rand, and then for the t-shirts you paid 250 rand, right? Say you did this all online, you bought it online, right? So you bought for 250 plus your 500, and that should give you 750, right? You bought this all online. Then when you receive the clothing, only to find that when you ordered your t-shirts, they were correct, size small, size medium, whatever it is. But when you ordered your pants, you said perhaps size 28, but you see that they're too small, right? And that is incorrect. So you return the pants, but you keep the t-shirts. If that's the case, do you think that you'll still pay the 750 rand, right? You wouldn't pay the 750 rand. You would subtract from that amount. You wouldn't pay the 750. You would return the pants with 500 rand, and then therefore we would subtract the 500 rand, right? Then your balance would only be 250 rand. This subtraction of the 500 rand, we call that allowance, right? You returned the clothing, and it only makes sense for you to subtract on the balance, right? Remember that accounting is a practical subject. Think about these things. They in some way, somehow, in the end, they make sense, right? So there's the allowance on the clothing. Same thing that we're doing here. Here, an allowance of 520 rand for damaged goods. Okay, their pants were destroyed, if we're using the same example, right? Was recorded as an invoice. Okay, another one. Think invoice. When you think invoice, I want you to think invoice. Invoice, I want you to think of a sale. And you're not subtracting, you're adding there, right? Allowance is a return, we subtract. Invoice is a sale, we add, right? Remember that. So now they're saying that an allowance of 520 rand for damaged goods was recorded as an invoice. Do you see that these two do not add up? This doesn't make sense. A return cannot be considered a sale. So now we know that there's a mistake that was done here. Let's find out what else they say. Right? Invoice in the creditors ledger of suppliers in the books of power traders. Okay, so the mistake was on our side, right? How do I know that? We're gonna highlight it in black. An allowance of 520, let me skip that part, right? In the creditors ledger account of suppliers. Remember, in our books, what do we call it? We call it the creditors ledger account, right? And then they're also saying here, in the books of power traders, in our books, right? So now we know who made the mistake. We made the mistake. Now we we also want to understand what actually is the mistake, right? An allowance of 520 for damaged goods was recorded as an invoice. So we were supposed to record a return, but we recorded it as a sale, right? So essentially this is what happened. Book there, and then supplies, the names here, Eastern Cape exams, yeah, ne? Minus plus, remember the liability, supplier liability, that's supplies. And then we were supposed to, how much was it? 520, right? We were supposed to record a return. Remember I said a return is a subtraction, right? So we were supposed to record a return. This is what we were supposed to do. 520 there in green. What we did instead was we increased by 520. Do you see now that our balance is incorrect? It's this one, right? Question now is, what are we supposed to do to fix it? Should we add another 520 here? But if we did that, that would mean that our balance here would be 1040. That's incorrect. It can't be, right? So what can we do? Right? What can we do? What we'll do first is we need to remove this 520. So we're going to say minus 520 there. This removes that, right? Then we come again. Remember now, as it stands now, the balance is at 0. 0 here, 0 there. Because we subtracted 520 and that removed that, right? Now we come again and we say plus another 520. Because first of all, we corrected our mistake. And then now we are doing the actual thing, the right thing, right? So it's a double, can I say double entry? It's there's two parts to this. First you correct the mistake, then you do what you're supposed to do at the first time around, right? Now the balance here on this side is gonna be 1040. Well, no, sorry. The balance when we look at it is gonna be 520, right? Because this cancelled out that, and then only this is left. But how much did we actually add in this transaction? We subtracted a total of 1040. 520 times 2, right? That plus that is going to give us 140, and we subtracted it there, right? So come to our question C there, and then say negative 1040, right? Information D, Power Traders reflected a credit invoice of 4,190. Power Traders says as credit invoice is the return, right? No, sorry. Credit invoice is just another invoice. An invoice is an invoice, sorry, right? Credit invoice can be credit or cash, right? When they say credit invoice, they're telling you how is that invoice made, right? If it's a cash invoice, you pay cash. If it's a credit invoice, they gave you credit, you'll pay later, right? Invoice, if you think about it, another thing is it's like a till slip, right? Go to ShopRite, buy. I don't think anyone ever buys their time in the store. Maybe I'm weird. Go to ShopRite, buy yourself a cold drink or an energy drink, and they give you a till slip. That's like an invoice you bought with it, right? So the same thing here. An invoice is a till slip. It's an addition, right? So Power Traders reflected a credit invoice. We know that invoice means increase in the creditor's ledger account of suppliers. This was for goods purchased from tin wholesalers. All right. So who made the mistake? We did, right? Power Traders made the mistake. What is the mistake? The mistake is that we were supposed to credit the invoice of 4,190 to Umteen Wholesalers, right? Umteen Wholesalers is the correct account, but we incorrectly did it to Suppliers. Yeah, and Umteen. Yeah, okay, right? So what we're gonna do now is, first, there's also two parts to this, but then because, like I said, this question paper is straightforward, we don't have to do the second part, right? Two parts to this question. Let me erase this. Actually, no. Right? Two parts to this question. One, we have to fix our mistake, right? So this is Suppliers. Suppliers liability minus plus, right? How much was it? 4,190. So credit invoice. Remember, sale. We bought, right? So 4,190. That was plus. That was there, right? Now this should not be here. This is incorrect. It should not be here. The balance on this account, well, not through all this, but from this transaction, supposed to be 0. There's not supposed to be anything there. If we say 4,190 on the credit side, do we remove this? No. We just increase it, giving us 8,380, right? We're just increasing it. That is incorrect. We can't do that. What we're supposed to do is debit 4,190. Now this is going to cancel out that, and our balance is actually 0, right? Like I said, this is a two-part question, right? Like the previous one. The second part to this would be you going to Umteen Wholesalers, and they are also a liability minus plus there, and then adding that 4,190 there, right? Correct. But Umteen Wholesalers is not here, so we don't have to do this step. I don't know why I drew a circle. Please don't judge me. Umteen Wholesalers is not here. Only Suppliers. And Suppliers, we know that we're going to debit the 4,190 so that it can cancel out the 4,190 on the credit side, right? And we also said here that the mistake is on our end, on Power Traders, right? So now we're going to come to our creditors ledger and say minus 4,190, right? Now for the last question here, information E, a payment of 5,500 made on 28 August 2018 did not appear on the statement. The statement was received 26 August 2018. So this is pretty much straightforward, but I just want to explain it to you so that you understand the theory behind this, right? So first let me highlight all the relevant stuff. A payment of 5,500 on 28 August did not appear on the statement. Where did it not appear? On the statement. So now we know whose mistake it was. Them. Well, it's not a mistake, it's an omission, but yeah, it's on their side, so we're going to fix it on their side. And what is the amount that is supposed to be there? 5,500, right? And how do we address this 5,500? It is a payment, so we're going to say minus 5,500, right? So minus 5,500 on the statement. It's their books, minus 5,500, because remember, we are paying, right? Once again, think about it as your own clothing account, right? Let me go back to our clothing example. Clothing account, remember our balance was 250 here, right? 250, and then we made a payment of, say, we students, we don't have a lot of money. We made a payment of 150 rand, right? Minus 150, and that is for a payment, right? Remember, when you're paying, you owe 250. They expect you to pay off the whole 250 eventually, but for now you just paid off 150. Therefore your balance is 100 rand, right? And then to just explain the whole issue of the statement, let's look at it like as a timeline, right? As a timeline. Yeah, you're a student. let's say let's say your parents give you a monthly allowance. All of your cash, they give you it in bulk at the end of the month, right? So this is the 1st of Jan, and this is the 31st of Jan, right? And then your parents give you your money on the 29th of Jan, right? For your whole month. But your bank gives you your statement on the 25th of Jan, right? So because December was such a good time, you don't have any money here. Zero, right? What do you expect to have when the statement comes? You still have 0 rand when the statement comes on the 25th of January. But then your parents give you, say, 500 rand on the 29th, right? When the statement comes, it still reflects as 0. But when you get your money, it says 500 rand, right? Not that they purposely hid it or they're trying to rob you. Please don't start calling your banks and saying you learned from an accounting tutor or whatnot. They're not robbing you. They just did not see the money and on the date when they sent you your statement, right? It only came after that date. So the same thing here. It only came afterwards, and therefore we're telling them that, hey, look, I actually have money. Don't think I have 0 rand in my account. I have money, right? So that is all the answers answered, right? In the end, what you do is add, total them up, and make sure that you get the same amount. So it's gonna be 15,000 here. When you say 20,000 minus 230, I mean plus 230 minus 1,040 minus 4,190, and then 21,500 minus 1,000 minus 5,500 and 15,000 rand, right? My smallanyana tip on this is, when you have an answer on when you have a question on reconciliation, whichever reconciliation you have, because it's essentially the same thing, um do your paper, finish, do everything. At the end, come back and check if these two amounts are the same. If they are the same, best believe that you have around 10 marks, unless they're going to charge you on your equations and all that. But essentially, me looking at this, remember, I'm not an educator, I'm a tutor who's studying accounting in university. So I don't know how they do my mark allocation. But essentially, this should be 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks, and 2 marks for that, and then you get your 10 marks or something near that. I'm just guessing here. But you just coming back at the end of your paper and then checking if these two answers are the same, that can guarantee you your marks, right? Reconciliation is one of the best questions to have in a paper, because after answering that, you know whether you have the full marks or if you have good marks on this, just by judging that, right? Yeah, that has been our question on reconciliation. I hope this has helped you. I hope you're able to understand a bit better. I'm gonna do a few videos on reconciliation as it's still the beginning of the year, and then for you to get your footing. Hopefully, come June time when you write that, what is it, paper one, right? When you write paper one on accounting, this part we should get 4 marks, right? Yeah, until the next video then.